previously on Stay in Your Lane.
You never want to take the human out of the loop. It's any kind of AI or decision support, any of this is really an augmentation and helps people focus on the harder things. So hopefully those people can be uptrained or can be solving some more interesting problems.
The people that will be successful are going to be able to complement what people do with technology, whether it be AI or software. Yeah. And I think that depending on, knowing your business, knowing your, if you're a shipper and you understand and know your business, you can do that without API. You can. And save the overhead, the expenditure, and get that commitment and eliminate the time waster by making arrangements for that according to what it really is. You can do that. The difference is it's not going out in your network transactionally. It's not going out in a transactional space where API, multiple people are using the API to do it. You can farm that out and get commitment for it at a value by encompassing all of those small things up, but I don't think that supports the software.
I don't think I'm following you. I don't quite understand. So you're saying that API is suited for.
What I'm saying is you can move those small volume lanes.
Yep.
Without putting them on a spot market.
Okay.
Without putting them in and EDIing them into a software TMS system.
Okay.
To tender them out, you can get commitments to award those by grouping them together and understanding what they are. Because at the end of the day, if you have an API commitment or a spot commitment on them, how do you budget for that?
Well, that's another problem, but the two different things. So
correct.
The question is, so as we all know, transportation is a two-stage procurement process. Generally, you do an RFP for your contract. You might do mini bids to fix holes in your routing guide, right. Whatever. The second stage, though, it's the second moment of truth, is does the stuff materialize and what happens then? Right. So two different things. And my point is strategically look for your dedicated places. Where should you have fleet? Where should you use private fleet, dedicate, whatever? Where do you have higher volume lanes for contract? And then what are the lanes that you say, I'm not even going to bother with these. Let's push them out. I'll deal with them if and when they materialize in that second stage. What you're talking about, though, is a really interesting problem, John, is the budgeting. How do I budget for that? And that's what drives CFOs crazy. Mm-hmm. It's like, I want to know that.
Got to have a number.
And that's why you bid out everything.
Even if it's bad, they got to have a number.
And it's just, it's a waste of time.
Yep.
And so we're doing a project right now and trying to quantify that. And we find it can be a huge number, the unplanned versus the planned when you run an RFP. So it's a challenge, but people have to be comfortable. It's just like, how do you budget for fuel? Right. You isolate the variability and from the line haul, because line haul is a little more predictable than that volatility of fuel. What I'm saying is, you know what, I can predict my dedicated pretty damn well, right? Because I know that I put it on really stable stuff. The next tier is contract, and as I make that more consistent, it's easier for me to predict that. The garbage lanes, maybe that's not the right word,
right.
The more random lanes, I have a budget for
Stuff that doesn't fit in the box.
Because you actually have a rough proxy of what it's going to be from the previous year. It's just not going to happen on the same lanes.
Right, and the stops may be different.
Yeah,
and it may happen once a month instead of once every 3 weeks.
So you get a sense of that, but it's a project we have going on right now up at MIT. I have 2 graduate students on it, and we'll see what we come up with. It's just there's a better way to budget, and we're not the only commodity or service being bought that has variability. There are ways to handle it, and one is to identify the area of variability and isolate it.
Yep, and I agree with that 100%. I think
but you don't agree with me with APIs. I think we disagree.
We do disagree on that, but that's okay. The nice thing about you, Chris, is we don't have to agree.
We don't.
To have respect and to enjoy each other's company.
You're still going to buy me drinks at the bar.
Joe.
That's my job.
Joe. That's what he's here for.
I'm here for.
Oh, man.
It's been enjoyable. I love the vision. I love what you do. I totally appreciate it. We've talked in the past that budgets they're not really real. Doing a bid and budgeting, and some years you hit the budget, some years you don't, and this and that, and it's moving more to a market pricing model.
Yeah, there's some things you can do, and this is with DAT, because sometimes, as we've talked before, there is no market setter. No one makes the market in this industry. Even the largest buyer, look at Walmart's buy, largest carriers out there, put Schneider, Hunt, Swift all together, and they're still not, they're a sliver of the market. So everyone takes the price. So what DAT is able to do is isolate out the question that every shipper gets: is it you, or is it the market? And you can isolate what the market's effect is and how you're doing to the market, because that's all you can do. How well am I doing against everyone else? Because so having a benchmarking system like that is very helpful.
Right, and that works when you have a COVID scenario.
Oh, it works every time. And the other thing now, I always joke, things I wish my CPO, CFO, CEO knew about trucking. And there's so many things that are just, they don't understand. You have to educate them. Mm-hmm. They need the education more when it's a tight market. In a soft market, they're happy.
Oh yeah.
Except
when the numbers work, they don't ask any questions.
I had one SVP of transportation talk to me and said, we saved 8% last year in the bid, and the CEO is so excited they want to do it again. It's like, oh my God.
Yes.
It's
you created a monster.
You created a monster because they don't understand.
They don't understand
the
transportation.
In your shippers panel, what did they have to say about the future? What do they? The last point that you covered.
Every single one of them caveated, say, "This isn't my company. This is just me." Okay. And most of them were reefer based, and so there's a lot of food because we're food shippers.
Right.
And so they all kind of said they thought, barring some major trigger incident, that it looked like Q3, Q4, late summer, things might go. There was a little debate whether it'll be a sharp intake, something triggering. I haven't seen so you got supply and demand. Triggers usually can impact supply. I don't think supply can be cut out so much that it's going to change a trigger. I just don't see that. So when are you going to have a spike in demand? Last time we saw it was not the pandemic itself, but 3 months into the pandemic when we all decided to buy stuff. And that's what did it. Because remember, the first 2 months of the pandemic, that's when carriers were still protesting that brokers charged too much. Remember that? At the White House. I mean, it was what the difference a month makes. And then everyone shut down their production and demand went through the roof, and that's what caused the big spike.
Now it's the grocery stores causing inflation.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So we'll see what happens. But mostly H3, H4.
Okay.
My opinion is it's going to be a slow.
Gradual.
As we look at DAT, we look at the new rate differential, where we look at specific rates, contract rates in and compared to going out. That's starting to go to parity. It's still negative right now. If you run a bid as a shipper, you're saving low single digits, getting close to zero. Some are seeing raises in some areas, and then the spot premium ratio. Spot is still below contract rates on a national average for drive-in and reefer. It's getting close, so it's showing the signs of coming up, but it's not a sudden jerk. So we'll see.
I would agree with you. We're going to agree on this one.
All right.
Okay.
We're going to agree.
Well, everyone did agree the market will turn.
Oh yeah.
There are no idiots who think this will go on forever anymore. Those people retired a long time ago.
Joe. Talk about Joe like that. No, we agree on that, and I will share with you, barring any hurricanes, FEMA relief, disaster scenarios,
Russian invasions, the Red Sea, Panama Canal
barring
drought,
any crazy thing that none of us have any ability
presidential
to control.
election,
terrorist event. I mean, some huge terror, like what happened on October 7th.
I don't think we get out of where we are from an economic perspective in a quarter or two or in a few quarters. I don't see that everything's just going to turn on in like the floodgates.
The weird thing is the economy isn't horrible. The problem now, we're in an election year, and so everyone has those glasses on.
Everybody's holding.
Yeah, so some people are saying how bad it is, and it'll miraculously get better on, November.
Wait till next year. January.
When my guy wins, it's going to get better.
Yeah, and if my guy doesn't, then it's going to hell. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I just wish, Joe, I wish you'd run for office because you'd be younger than any of the current
That's true.
candidates.
I would be. I'd be young.
You'd be the young man.
Kid. I'd be the kid. You're right.
Wow.
Anyway.
I'd vote for you, Joe.
Absolutely.
I got you. I got 2 votes. I got you and Chris. So I got to move on from there.
There you go. Well, thanks for having me. Hope you have a good
appreciate
show.
you
It's been
stopping.
great. I came to Food Shippers for like 3 or 4 years in a row about 15 years ago. And then this is second year in a row. So I had a big gap, and it seems a lot larger and more professional. The bars aren't open for as long as they used to be, I think. Maybe that's changed a little bit.
That's Joe's fault, too. Well, Chris, we always appreciate you making time for us.
Anytime.
Love talking to you. All right. And until then, Chris Caplice.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.